According to Roger Federer, Andre Agassi is a liar. A very big one indeed, because you can't hate a game that gave you all. Why would he have said that? What have other legends said about him? Let's find out. Roger Federer also spoke of his sadness at Andre's admission in his autobiography. Federer remarked that he was shocked when he heard the news. "I'm disappointed, and I hope there won't be any similar incidents going forward. Our sport must remain ethical." In 2018, Federer came out again to accuse Agassi of lying in his book. In the book, released back in 2009, Andre admitted to hating tennis with a dark and secret passion. Such words, however, were incomprehensible to a man like Federer. He believed that Andre would never have picked up a racket had he genuinely despised the sport. Agassi said the same after he retired. He played for 20-something years. "I don't believe everything he said in that book, and there are moments when they do win a match, or there are moments in practice where they actually do enjoy it. Maybe there are moments when things are different. When you're packing up the bags and traveling to the next event or whatever it is, then it becomes tricky sometimes, but that's the case for everybody. It's also a question of seeing the glass half full rather than empty. They still have some potential to fulfill. They know that, and it's a question up to them if they want to do it or not." Back in 2021, Nadal revealed in an interview with Number Web that he was a huge tennis fan of Agassi right from his childhood. He talked about how he always enjoyed the matches between Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi, explaining that he learned many things from them. Nadal said, "When I was younger, I had a lot of admiration for Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi, and I enjoyed watching their matches. I learned to play aggressively from Sampras and to have a fighting spirit from Agassi because they are two very different types. Their match was very inspirational." Back then, everybody looked forward to watching these legends. In one of the fiercest rivalries in tennis history, Pete and Andre came into contact 34 times. Later, we'll explain what Pete had to say about his former rival in more detail. Now let's go back in time to 2009 when Nadal and Federer voiced their displeasure at Agassi after he revealed he took the recreational drug crystal meth in 1997 and lied about the reasons for a positive test. "It seems awful to me," Nadal said. Now that he's retired, why is he saying this? It's an absurd method of harming the sport. "I am the first to want a clean sport because I think it's important. If Agassi had cheated during his career, he should have received punishment because cheaters must be punished." Shouldn't Nadal have said that? What do you think? Between 1989 and 2002, Andre and Pete were the best, playing 34 times. We talked about the rivalry in one of our videos. You can check that out. During a press conference call with reporters in 2010, Pete was asked about his relationship with Agassi, and he gave this brief, guarded response. He said, "It's okay. Even though we were rivals in the 1990s, we got along pretty well." He obviously made some statements in his book, and we have also had a few isolated instances. It's fine and respectful, and I'll leave it at that. Another legend who has expressed opinions about Agassi is Novak Djokovic. Agassi has coached Novak in the past before, so he must definitely have some things to say. Novak once spoke with reporters about his friendship with Agassi. He also spoke glowingly of how Andre helped him in a time of need. Even though the partnership didn't bear fruit on the tennis court, Novak said he was immensely grateful to Andre, went on to say he learned a lot from him, and not just about tennis. Novak's words were, "We didn't have any contact. He was not working with me officially, he was just helping me out, and he was genuinely trying to help, give me advice, and share his experience with me. And that alone says enough about him as a person. He's someone that I have always admired as a player and a person. The time I spent with Andre was wonderful. I'm very appreciative of all the things I've learned, not only about tennis, but also about life in general. We couldn't have ended it because we didn't have a formal relationship. His line is always open to me, so I can call him at any time and talk to him, ask him for advice and tips, and share something with him." However, one legend didn't think the Agassi and Novak relationship was going to work out, and he was kind of right. McEnroe didn't think Agassi was able to help Djokovic rediscover his best form unless he was willing to devote a lot more of his time to working with Novak. In reference to the pairing of Agassi and Novak, McEnroe said, "It looks great on paper when you bring in Agassi, and it is great for tennis. He did have his career renaissance, so there are reasons why it makes sense, but it's hard to think that it could make sense so fast. If you leave after the first week, or you're only there for a few days with any person, it's going to take some time." McEnroe revealed at the time that he did not expect the partnership to be successful in the long term if the two men worked together only for very brief moments. Up next is this legend who once said she felt her career and Andre's career shared similarities. Sometime in 2018, Serena Williams shared her admiration for Agassi in a press conference. She revealed that she loves Andre. She called him a great guy. "I think our professional paths have been somewhat similar. A decade ago, I was playing as fabulously as he was at that point in his career. It's not a bad comparison, I suppose. He is unquestionably historic and a top American tennis player." If Boris Becker could go back in time and improve one record, it would probably be his head-to-head record against Agassi. Becker was the most popular star of his generation. The emergence of Agassi took all that away. Agassi won 8 straight games against Becker in the late 1980s after losing his first 3 meetings with him. There would always be tension in their battles. This was largely due to their flamboyant personas and fiercely devoted fan bases, who would swarm the stadium to watch their favorite player play. Their games were the collision of two elephants. In 2019, Becker opened up on one of his biggest rivals. He began by saying he had always viewed Andre as a player who challenged the system. Andre wasn't really a rebel at heart, as evidenced most obviously by his refusal to wear the customary whites at Wimbledon. Andre brought a new life and color to the game. He had the earrings and just a whole different style of playing and of personality. And I believe that the pairing of Pete and Andre, just like black and white, elevated tennis to a new level. Becker further revealed that because of Agassi, the sport gained a lot of new fans, younger fans especially. I mean, I became a fan because of Agassi. According to Becker, in Agassi's early years, he always tried to break the rules, even the rules within the rules. But obviously, the foundation was always his performance, and the fact that he won 8 majors ultimately speaks for himself. Becker later talked about the controversial book of Andre where he had written that he hated tennis. That someone could despise a sport that gave them everything was difficult for the German to understand. Surprised just a little, I thought he had everything from tennis. I've gotten everything from it. It seems strange that you would hate something that had given you so much. However, since the title of the book is Honest or Open, he was being honest about how he felt. I appreciate that, and it's clear that not many people in the tennis community did. That you despise something for which you have achieved such success and gained financial gain, etc. However, it was a completely open and honest book, so that's it, he said. The discussion then turned to their well-known rivalry. In Andre Agassi's book, he devoted some time to discussing his heat with Becker. So Becker addressed that, saying, "He told some stories and briefly discussed me, because we were rivals. We didn't get along very well when we played. I had what he wanted, and he wanted what I had. When I was playing, I think I had the biggest personality, but when he arrived, he quickly replaced me. I didn't care for that in the least. As a result, whenever we played, it always turned personal, making for great drama and an entertaining game to watch. Missing a little bit these days. These days, everyone's extremely equal and similar. You may not always be able to tell who's winning or losing when they shake hands. When Agassi played Becker, you definitely knew who was winning or losing, I promise." What do you think about these various legends have had to say about Andre Agassi? Personally, I think some were harsh. What do you think? Comment below.